What should the Chicago Bulls do with the number 7 overall pick in the 2019 NBA Draft? What is going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA here to discuss the NBA Draft and specifically talking about my Chicago Bulls and what exactly they should do with their number 7 overall selection. The third straight year they've had the number 7 pick. So, here to talk about all that. Before I do so, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. What are you doing? Click the button down below, subscribe, turn on my post notifications, especially if you're a Bulls fan, because a lot of Bulls content on this channel right now and in the future, so you don't want to miss out. And also follow me on my social media links down below and on the screen for my Twitter and my Instagram. With that being said, so like I mentioned, here to discuss what should the Bulls do with this number 7 overall pick. Should they trade it? Should they move up? Should they move down? Should they keep it and draft a player? What should they do? I'm going to break it all down for you guys, talk about the prospects that I believe will be available at number 7 and whether or not the Bulls should keep the pick and who they should potentially take if they do keep the pick. So with that being said, let's get started. So the first part of the question, what should the Bulls do with this draft pick? They could trade it, certainly, but I don't really see a market out there for the number 7 overall pick. Now, after the Anthony Davis trade happened, by the way, post my thoughts on that. Go ahead and check that out. And he was shipped to the Lakers. The Pelicans acquired the number 4 overall pick from the Los Angeles Lakers. And there were reports that the Bulls would try to move up to the number 4 overall pick. But it didn't really make sense because all the Bulls would have to give the Pelicans would be the number 7th pick and the second round pick the Bulls have. So, that's really not enough, I believe, for the Pelicans to trade the number 4 overall pick. I don't believe they would do it. So a team like the Atlanta Hawks, who've got 3 picks in the first round, they would be much more of an enticing trading partner for the Pelicans. So to me, trading this pick and trying to move up really will not work unless you are absolutely trying to attach somebody to that pick. So, and the potential is there for maybe like a Chris Dunn or somebody like that. But the top 3 picks in this draft, that being the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, and the Knicks, I don't expect them to move from the top 3. So the Bulls are essentially going to be working with 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I don't believe there is much out there for the Bulls to make that much of a leap to go from a 7 to a 4 if it's going to cost them, a substantial amount of either player asset or draft capital. So to me, I think the Bulls should keep this pick and draft at number 7. Now, the potential is also there for them to trade down. But again, I don't believe the Bulls have enough equity in return to make these trades happen. And quite frankly, I don't trust the Bulls enough and their management enough to be smart enough to fool some team into giving them more draft picks, okay, or a higher draft pick. So let's go under the assumption that the Bulls do the safe thing, which they always do, and they end up just making the pick, okay? And at number 7, here is how I see it playing out. I'm going to have my official mock draft as well for you guys, but just if I played the 6 picks above the Bulls, I have the top 3 picks, which are secured, locked, essentially. This draft has 1 mega superstar and 2 sort of absolutes. And then after that, it's a crapshoot, So I'm talking about number 1, the Pelicans are going to take Zion Williamson. Number 2, the Memphis Grizzlies will take Ja Morant. And number 3, the Knicks will take RJ Barrett. So those are the first 3 picks. Very much, I'm sure that those picks are going to be those players, okay? After that, draft turns into a bit of a crapshoot. But here's my best guess on what happens from 4 to 6. Right before the Bulls pick, at number 4 is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, there was some talk that Darius Garland here was gaining traction as the number 4 overall pick. But here's the thing. The Pelicans just made the trade with the Lakers for Anthony Davis. And who did they acquire back in the trade? Lonzo Ball, who they seem to be very, very high on. So Darius Garland being a point guard, I don't know now if they want to pick and draft another guy when they've got Lonzo Ball, who they really like a lot and potentially see as their point guard of the future, alongside Jrue Holiday and that backcourt being there. So to me, I don't see them taking Darius Garland anymore at number 4. I see them taking Jarrett Culver, He's more of a fit as a 3-and-D guy. And in terms of what the Pelicans are trying to do, he will fit a lot easier than Darius Garland would, assuming, of course, the Pelicans do decide to keep Lonzo Ball. Now, they are the one wild card in the top sort of 5 right before the Bulls pick that I'm not sure what they're going to do, whether they keep the pick, trade it. I'm just assuming they keep the pick. And if they do, I expect them to take Jarrett Culver. And then at number 5, you move to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They drafted a point guard last year in Colin Sexton, so I don't expect them to go in a direction of a point guard. I expect them to go with DeAndre Hunter, who's obviously a freak and has a lot of potential in this draft, and certainly would fit the Cavaliers' needs as a forward. So to me, I see him clearly going there. And then now it gets tricky because at 6, the Phoenix Suns draft. Okay, and the Phoenix Suns need a point guard just like us. And so the thing with that is, obviously, they get to pick first, so they get to decide. Now, there's essentially 2 point guards. I've already mentioned one of them in this draft, which is Darius Garland and Coby White. Okay, yes, Ja Morant is there, but I told you he's a secure lock at number 2. We're not getting him. There's no point in talking about it. It's essentially between Coby White out of out of North Carolina, and Darius Garland out of Vanderbilt. Now, here's the thing. With Darius Garland, I like him, but he only played 5 games last year for Vanderbilt, okay? That's a problem. The Bulls and injury-prone players, especially guys that have torn meniscuses, I don't know if you know, but I don't like that, okay? So just saying, not saying he's going to be injury-prone, or, that's going to hamper him moving forward, but just, to note. And when you take a look into account, his numbers, he shot 47% from 3, but again, very small sample size. So to me, it really comes down to between Darius Garland and Coby White and who the Phoenix Suns will take before the Chicago Bulls draft at number 7. So essentially, I could talk about who's the better prospect between the two. I think Darius Garland's a better pure shooter, but I do think Coby White's a better scorer. I think Coby White, being a little bit bigger at 6'5" and about 190 pounds compared to Darius Garland, who's about 6'2", 6'3", at about 175-ish. There's more defense potential there for Coby White. I do think Darius Garland is a better playmaker and a better passer, but Coby White has some potential there as well. They're both very, very good scorers. I might lean Coby White in that aspect. He's very good on the pick and roll and scoring off of that. So both these guys obviously have immense potential. I think for today's game, Darius Garland, to me, kind of edges out a little bit more just because, like I said, I believe he's a better perimeter shooter than Coby White, and I believe he fits that prototypical point guard need. That's not to say Coby White doesn't, but again, it's a very slim difference between the two. I like both prospects a lot, but if you put a gun to my head, I'm probably taking Darius Garland. I know he's the one that obviously, got hurt and had the torn meniscus, but again, it's not a big difference. So if it ends up being that it's Coby White, I'll be happy. So essentially, what am I trying to say here? The Bulls are really not going to have to make a big decision because they'll just take whoever the Suns don't pick, okay? If the Suns pick Darius Garland, the Bulls should take Coby White. If the Suns take Coby White, the Bulls should take Darius Garland. Now, the off chance that both of those guys are gone before the Bulls pick at number 7, well, then just screw everything and just walk away. At that point, go home because the Bulls obviously are awful. No, of course, I'm kidding. At that point, you probably take a chance on a guy like Cam Reddish because honestly, the point guard, rankings really drop off after those 3. After Ja Morant and Garland and Coby White, it's really slim pickings in terms of that range where the Bulls are picking to pick a point guard. So I would take a chance on a guy like Cam Reddish at that point. Just, why not see if you can do the BPA best player available route. But honestly, it should be between Coby White and Darius Garland. Clearly, the biggest need for the Bulls is point guard. We know with the weakness at that position and the inability of Chris Dunn to seize control of that position and how much management John Paxson, Gar Forman have talked about that position, that is what they're going to address. I would bet a large amount of money on the Bulls drafting a point guard at number 7, and it's going to be either Darius Garland or Coby White, whoever the Suns don't draft. So there you have it, folks. That is why I have the Bulls taking at the number 7 overall pick, assuming they don't trade the pick and assuming they, of course, keep it. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys want the Bulls to take at number 7 if they do decide to keep the pick? Leave a comment down below if you agree with me or disagree. As always, thanks for watching.